a lot of stuff going on in the world. A lot of stuff locally going on and in the world. So it's just like overly stressful, like seriously. Because it's violence happening throughout the world, and then there's violence that's happening right here in your own community. So it's sad. A thing that I've seen a lot this week because of all the violence that's happening locally and in the world is people were saying, and people were arguing and saying it was two different things, because they were saying, like, how can we expect Black lives to matter when we don't even respect the Black lives? Like, you know what I mean?
But who don't respect about Black lives?
The Black people.
Who's the Black people?
The Black people who's committing these crimes and murdering their own, and they put on Black crime, or they label it as that, and you know what I'm saying? It's an outrage whenever the police kill somebody Black, but it's not the same outrage whenever your own, or you know what I'm saying? So people were saying it's two different things.
Yeah, it definitely is two different things. That's like a stranger killing my brother, or my brother killing my brother. Like, I'm gonna be sad if my brother killed my brother, but if a stranger killed my brother, I'm gonna be mad and ready to tear something up. It's like the stuff that's close to us. We're not killing each other.
Yeah.
I'm just looking at it like, if somebody close to you kills somebody close to you, you're going to be more sad than outraged. I feel you're going to be hurt more than outraged. I feel like you're going to be angry if somebody from the outside kills somebody that you love.
I'm going to be angry because they killed somebody I love, period. Like, I'm not deciphering about who killed it, who killed them, whether it's a cop or a brother or a friend of theirs. Like, I'm outraged no matter what. And people are saying, like, people don't keep that same energy. That's why there's so many unsolved murders. And that's why these murders and crimes keep happening right here in our community. Like, you know what I mean? I just think that there's a lack of respect for life. And if we don't respect life, how can we expect somebody else to respect our lives?
But when you say we's not all Black people, though.
No, it's not we. It's not all Black people, but I'm speaking about the Black race because that's who I seen it coming from, and that's who I seen, saying those things. I feel like, if there is a 6-year-old kid killed in the crossfire around the corner, I feel like it should be as much outrage about who did that like it is the outrage with George Floyd. Like, you know what I'm saying? But like, people will really know who did that to that 6-year-old and not say anything. Like, it's just swept under the rug.
So do you think it's a lot of people don't say, because the streets talk. So
they do.
And so do you feel like people are scared?
Definitely, because I'm scared of the people in my hood in retaliation, and I'm fearful from the law as well. So it's a fear both ways. Like, you know what I'm saying? And people is looking at it like that. People don't want to communicate with the police because they don't have a rapport with the police. That's the problem. So you're not going to get people to come forward or people to step up and do the right thing because they're fearful of the law. And then they're fearful of the retaliation in their hood, just living in their hood.
So let me ask y'all this. Do y'all think that with them talking about defunding the police and putting some of those funds that are taken away from these police departments, if those funds are reallocated to different services within the community, do you think that would help quell some of the violence within the community or not?
Yeah, I don't know if it would be that much of a big difference, but I think it would.
It's a start. It's a start. Because we do need a community center. And maybe at that community center, it's required that the police do community service down there to get a report with these kids that's in our community or just the people in general in the community. We don't have that.
But
And that
I
could be funded from the police.
but I ain't buying that as far as our lives don't matter because we kill each other. Because white on white crime, any color, any race on any race crime is always going to be more than the outside. Like white on white murders has happen more than like anything else too. So
I mean, I
it's
think
that's just
that, like,
the narrative is that we kill each other more, but that's not true.
But I think I do have I don't necessarily when it comes to our community, I do not believe that at all. Like even do y'all believe that? Because you
What?
don't
what?
in our specific community, you don't hear about white people killing each other.
No, that's not no. I'm not talking about where we live. I'm just
It
talking about
happens.
It
It happens.
happens,
It's
but
just far and few between. It's
the
just
freak
far and few between.
right. So it's more frequent between black people. But so where am I misunderstanding you, Tom?
I'm talking about in the United States period. This ain't just that's the thing that's brought up in like the topic, the conversation. They're talking nationwide. Like when somebody say black on black crime, they talk about it nationwide. They don't talk about it locally. But yeah, where we live, like if you live in Chicago, like lower impoverished cities, of course the crime rate is going to be up more. But there's cities like ours that's white though too. That's like in like West Virginia or like Oklahoma. Their crime rates be high too.
So
I
it's
remember you remember banging on Little Rock back in the day. That banging in Little Rock, Arkansas. They had a whole gang. They got gangs out there, all white gangs. They just gang bang out there.
I'm just saying, I just look at it like it's crime is crime. A murder is a murder. I don't care who did it. Like, you know what I'm saying? And I just feel like, it should be an outrage. It should be the same energy, whether it's somebody that we know personally or if it's a George Floyd or a Breonna Taylor or whoever. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like the same energy should be kept. You know what I'm saying? And we should have we got the right to live in a safe community.
right. So what you're saying is that the crime thing it's a combination of poverty and proximity
Exactly.
that determines who kills who within the community.
Exactly. Yeah. And this the they were saying like there's the study down there in Maryland. They I think there was the study done in the 70s, but the same neighborhood got the same crimes to this day, like the same rates and everything. Like nothing changed in the community. It's almost like they're expecting it to happen. You know what I mean? And they don't want to
Mhm.
change it.
But I think when
Mhm.
it comes to the outrage for the police killings, it's more of these people, their literal job is to protect and serve. But you're
Somewhere down
not,
the line, it got mixed up.
yeah, like
Everybody be power tripping. It's weird.
That's exactly what it is.
you're literally employed to keep us safe. That is your job,
To protect and serve.
but you're killing us.
Protect and serve. Period. Like
Yeah.
that's their shit. To protect and serve.
These
That's
guys,
it. But that's not the energy that they get.
well, they're mental. Some of them's not mentally unstable though too. Like
Mhm.
you seen the one girl out there crying because she thought somebody did something to her at McDonald's.
Oh, yeah.
Just
Well,
like they this
There's a police officer, I forget where she's from, but she had been working and I don't know if she was getting off or what.
she was
But
getting
she had placed her order ahead of time. When she came through the drive-through to pick it up, it still wasn't ready. So she was kind of like paranoid that they was doing something to her food in McDonald's.
but then
And so she was like having this like breakdown on
talking about she ain't been
social
to sleep
media.
in days or whatever. She don't get that much rest and all of this. And then it's like, see, people like that don't need a gun. Like you crying over an egg McMuffin.
Like, first of all, girl,
right.
ain't nobody in that McDonald's poison you. What
It
did
just
you?
take long.
And did they know she was a police officer? Did she put officer so and so for pickup? Like how would they know she was an officer?
I don't know. It was just ridiculous to me that
I
this
just
woman
think
was.
I just think she got paranoid because she went to a
Maybe she felt like when she pulled up and they seen her, then
It
that's
was odd.
when-
Okay.
But
Well,
but
that
she
makes
kept the coffee though. Why would you keep the coffee?
Right.
Yeah, because
Right.
if they poison the McMuffin, they probably poisoned the coffee.
Right.
Somebody's like, the coffee's way more easier to poison than than a McMuffin.
Well, I
But
seen a
first of all,
video.
like somebody is just like, who is walking around with poison in their pocket to poison you, just in case I get a police officer, I can drive through.
Technically poison, maybe spit in or put something disgusting in, like, you know what I'm saying, like their food, like do something gross to their food. I wouldn't necessarily say poison, like, because nobody's just walking around with cyanide or nothing like that in their pocket. So I'm thinking about, like, they probably would do something to our food, like if they
Now
seen
listen, and
it.
I'm not even saying that that does not happen, because it does. And
Yeah,
when I was a teenager, I definitely witnessed it. I'm not even going to
right,
say where I work, but I witnessed it. But even with me witnessing it, it wouldn't have delayed your food. They just
Exactly.
go boom, boom,
right,
real
Exactly.
quick. Here you
right,
go. Have a great day.
right,
They were just taking
right.
long. Maybe the eggs wasn't done. I don't know.
Everybody been to a McDonald's where they take long.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I seen a video this week, and it was a little black girl who seen a white police officer in her uniform and lost it. Like, she was crying, she was hysterical, and the white police officer was like confused, you know what I'm saying, why she was like that. And the girl was like really like shook, like, you know what I mean? But the police officer came over to her and she talked to her, like calmed her down, and was like, you know, not all police officers are bad, and you don't have to be afraid of her, because she just was like, I'm just scared, and I didn't even do nothing. Like, she put her hands up and everything. She was like 8 or something crazy. So, but what pissed me off was the comments, because in the comments, multiple people was really saying that it was that girl's parents' fault that she was reacting to the police like that. Like, it doesn't,
Like, you can't
like,
stop your kid from having PTSD.
Right.
I'm grown with kids, and I have a fear when I see the police, and I did shit,
Look,
because
look,
you just don't know.
as soon as
You
they
know what I
turn their
mean?
soon as they turn their sirens on, even if they go past you, you like, whew.
And I should not have that fear in my community with the police. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I should not have a fear with my community police like that. I
Yeah, and
shouldn't.
you know what? I hope, like, one time, once we converted over to updating our registrations online, I just forgot, like, to update my registration. So I get pulled over, and I know that the police officer could feel the tension when I rolled down my window. So, you know, he's looking at my stickers and stuff, and, you know, the front ones was up to date. And I know he could tell. He was like, well, just go online and update it. And I was like, okay. And like, that was the end of the interaction. But I know he could feel the tension.
And how was your anxiety level? Knowing, like, you know what I'm saying, you wasn't doing anything illegal, but just like the interaction.
Yeah, and then because honestly, I wouldn't even know why he ran my plate, especially if you know that now we've converted over to online registration updates. Why were you running a plate? Is that just something that they do randomly?
And that's profiling, because they shouldn't be. That's like an invasion of my privacy. Like, why are you doing that? I didn't give you cause to do that. What caused you to do that? Did I not turn my turn signal on? And, you know, like, what caused you to do that? So it's a lot with that. The original topic with, like, defunding the police, is like, it's a lot. I just feel like they just need to go. They have to start from scratch. They got to start from the ground and build up. Like, you know what I'm saying? Wipe everybody out who's not on board with what's going to happen moving forward. If they're not on board with that, they need to be eliminated, and they need new people in to move forward. Like,
Well, internal affairs too should be independent. Internal affairs shouldn't be within, like, the police. It should be some type of other company coming in to audit the police. It should not be like you know what I mean? They
yeah,
shouldn't
that's what
all
they were.
be under
That was one of the things that I seen. The police can't police their own. Like, they
yeah.
can't. It's a conflict of interest. Like,
Well, you
come
know
on, we
what?
did
Because I
that.
think a lot of people, because there's some people who assume that the defunding the police means get rid of the police altogether. No, we definitely need the police,
Yeah.
but I think
Yeah.
that I'm in support of defunding the police, and if I feel like if you don't need to hire more, you just need more quality. So with that being said, the people that you hire, maybe you need to have a requirement that they come from the same community that the police in. Maybe you need to make sure that they're getting regular therapy or regular mental evaluations, because honestly, police officers go through traumatic
Yeah.
on a
But
regular basis. So y'all should get therapy and mental evaluations just to make sure that you're still up to par with serving and protecting your community. And if not, the doctor needs to give a recommendation to say they're not good.
that'll work a little bit too. But honestly, I know a lot of smart assholes. There's some people that just are assholes. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And they'll be able to pass those tests with flying colors, and then just have a power trip once they get that badge.
Yeah, but at the same time, if you have complaints racking up against you, that should also count for something. They
Yeah.
shouldn't,
Now,
like, as far as Chauvin is concerned, and he has 17 prior complaints. That should have he should have never been on the street.
even with the
17.
even with the dude with the Antoine Rose situation, like,
Any one of us would have been fired by now if we would have had 17 complaints against us on any one of our
see,
jobs.
now I agree with that now, but as far as like the process of the hiring process, you know how it is. I mean, I done seen the person sit in front of me like an angel, and then as soon as they got the job, it's like a totally different person. Like, you're not who I hired. So,
Yeah, but
Right.
at the same time, if there's a record of these complaints with this officer at another department, why are you not taking that into consideration along with the interview for you to make your final decision? Or
oh
you don't
no,
care what they did at that other department? They're an
well,
angel.
I'm not. I'm talking about like just coming on the force stuff, like period, not like transferring. I agree with you. Once they're on the force, everything that they do should be like a review. Like, it should be like how it is at a regular job. It should be.
That's why their hiring process needs to be held at a higher standard. Like, it needs to be a higher standard from the door. Like, you should have to go through a whole
It should.
background check process.
It should be like
And
18 months. It should be like 18 months.
yeah, and the amount of training that you are required to have even before you join the force, and the training throughout your career on the force. Because if you're a nurse, you have to re-educate on certain things and certifications throughout your career as a nurse. I feel like the police should have to do that as well. They are dealing with people's lives every day, so are nurses. Like, you know what I mean? So I feel like it should be like the same type of level of education and training all the time, continuous.
But see, our problem here, and I feel like we're lazy, is that we always try to modify things instead of just tearing it down and rebuilding it. Like, the laws, the Constitution, all of this stuff, it needs to be just redone, not modified. We always just try to twist it and change it a little bit.
Hmm.
Wait, so what is, speaking of tearing stuff down and instead of modifying it, what is that the police department they was talking about in New Jersey, where they fire all of the police officers and made everybody go back through the rehiring process? They said that there's been a complete turnaround in the city after that.
Oh,
What
yeah,
city
that's
was
nice.
that? It was
I don't know. I didn't hear that.
New Jersey. It was somewhere in New
When they
Jersey.
do this?
I'm guessing a few years ago, but
Oh, okay.
I heard
That's
people talking about it on the news.
Hey, I'm with that. Especially if you got somebody doing the hiring process that ain't already biased.
And some officers were rehired and some were not.
The only reason why I'm not with totally defunding the police, because I do feel like if you do the job to a T and everything like that, you deserve to get paid more than what you're getting paid. Kind of like teachers. If you're a great teacher, I feel like you shouldn't be down at the bottom making minimum like $30,000.
Yeah,
You really
just
getting
like
paid.
with the nurses. Once you
Yeah.
complete those certifications and you get more educations or more whatever under your belt, your pay rate go up. You get a raise. Like, there's incentives for those things. I feel like they should be held on the same standard. Like,
But-
it just
yeah,
it just
so
makes sense.
Yeah, so I'm with you on that. I don't know if I would defund it. I would reallocate it into the same system, just in a different department. Like you said, the hiring process, make it more vigorous to get in. Because at the end of the day, um, the people that need the money is the public servants. We can't
Right,
be.
but even if going into the defunding conversation, if you do put defund the police, they're still going to get money. You're just taking some of the money away from them. But like they were saying, for example, you would put more of the money into certain social services to deal with mental illness, so that there's certain calls that maybe police aren't equipped to handle, as far as like um, mental illness is concerned. You could send somebody else to deal with that instead of calling the police.
I have a perfect example for that. PFAs, like, you know what I'm saying, or protective abuse orders, like, you know what I mean. You repeatedly call the police for them situations, and nothing really happens, like, you know what I'm saying. And sometimes the female get killed because it's just a piece of paper, versus if I make the phone call to the police and I'm telling you, like, I got a PSA, he's out there, the police got someone to call, the social worker or somebody else. There's somebody else in place that can help that woman. You know what I mean, or that family.
So are we going?
Like, there are different things that can happen with defunding the police. I'm not saying totally defund them or however much money they get in. I just feel like and got shit.
Oh man, you're cutting up, Ken.
But to me, like, again, maybe
Mm-hmm.
the Beverly Hills Police Department, you could take money away from them. But if you taking money from like little places like Duquesne, even if their police ain't doing the right thing, or even places like McKeesport, even if their cops ain't doing the right thing, I don't feel like you can really take money from them, because at the end of the day, the officer who's making $28,000 a year is just going to be an excuse not to give them more money.
But if you're hiring with the expectation that you're going to have a better quality officer, why would you not pay them more?
I don't know. I just can't see you. I can't. I've never seen a company get money taken away from them, and they up their pay rate. I just never seen that happen.
Well, I think that there's different evaluations that need to be done. Like if you could, when you're looking at a process like defunding, it's not something that you can say, well, now we're only getting 2/3 of what we were getting now. We got to work with that with the same number of officers. Versus, can we evaluate the situation? If a social worker can handle the situation, and then if the social worker deems that the police need to be called, like in this domestic situation or in this mental illness situation, at that point, a police officer will be called. Um, like for situations, when you're evaluating, can you say, do we actually need this? It's like workforce analytics. Do we actually need this many police in this area?
Oh, y'all friends.
I
You
don't know.
froze.
I just,
Y'all get
I
it's
guess.
a
I
connection. Is
guess
that me?
we just know it need to change. Yeah,
Yes.
that's you.